A warm welcome back to the Forensic Detailing channel, guys. Do not forget to subscribe. So today we're going to be doing a little bit of exploration into a rinseless wash system. So this is Labocosmetica's rinseless solution, which is the main rinseless product is called Ibrosave, which is a rinseless wash, pH neutral with nano sealant in it. And two accompanying products, which are the thing that's very interesting. An alkaline pre-soak for rinseless wash solution and an acidic pre-soak for rinseless wash solution. So to understand the existence of these, you need to understand the limitation of this one. So rinseless washes don't have the same traditional tool set of chemistry that's often historically used to clean cars, which could be cleaning through certain alkaline surfactant function, which is good for heavy degreasing, dissolving things that mild surfactants can't touch. And of course, acidic function for attacking solid particles or, mineral deposits most of the time. So two functions that one you need an acid for and general kind of heavier cleaning. So like as Labo described it, organic matter, inorganic matter, which I think is a good way to do it actually. So these rely more on encapsulation and kind of, contact, working with your contact media to lift the dirt off into encapsulation, and then it can be safely removed off the panel. And we know they do that. But it's good that they've got this. So let's just delve a little bit into it. The Ibrosave product, really, its core price a litre is £25.96. Excuse me, which puts it somewhere in the middle of market. You can see my 2024 price comparison to get all the data on that. Not cheap, not expensive, and that's the cheapest one on the market, £12.95. That one's £16.95. I think that's about 23 quid for a litre. I can't remember how much that one costs. So it's not cheap, but it's not ridiculously expensive, and there are 5 litre offerings there, or 4.5, but that's a lot of rinseless. That's a lot of rinseless to use. Professional detailers would often use rinseless as an alternative when it's not available to them. So most 99% of professional detailers might have a rinseless, but even 5 litres of rinseless will take them years to get through. So I think the exceptions are professional detailers that might prefer using rinseless for their contact wash, so use more and want that. For guys at home, I don't think you're ever going to want 5 litres of this unless you're really fixed on one is the one you want, and then you're going to use it forever, and that will last you years and years. So I think the litre offering is about right. I just made a whole load of notes on this. I couldn't find the Ibrosave product on their website mixed in with all the other products. So an interesting thing about Ibrosave is to think about design choice. Do you make a rinseless wash that leaves nothing behind? Which I think might be, this one here might be an example of that. These two might be examples of ones that leave non-bonding things on the surface to give you a bit of shine or lubrication, and they generally wash off later on or towel off later on, but they leave something perhaps, in the case of this one, certainly like a silicon siloxane thing that you can feel on the paintwork, and I'm not sure the polymers in this if you leave them behind or whatever. But this is one of few that actually add a nano sealant which tops up protection or puts a layer of protection if you've got nothing on there, and therefore also helps dry the car because it's hydrophobic kind of bonding protection, if you like, that they claim lasts 6 weeks, which is a very sensible claim. I like that. So first of all, you've got to understand your design choice. When you go with a pure surfactant, a pure leaves nothing behind rinseless, then it's more suitable for them putting protection on and prepping a car for protection. And you're less likely to use this as a clay lube or like a prep product. It's more a maintenance product because it adds that protection in my head. That's the downside of it, but you might get some gloss and it might make it a better drying aid. and then you've got the middle ground of non-permanent stuff on there. You've got to decide what you want there and think that kind of through. And yeah, we will talk about that because it does create limitations more for professional use if they're having to use rinseless technology alone with no rinsing to prep cars. Some notes on Ibrosave that the encapsulation qualities of it I recall as being very strong. So it has a noticeable effect when you're using it and dirt's mixed into it. You can see it pull it into the solution and like carry it and hold it there more so than other rinselesses. It stood out in that test when I was actually doing a scratch simulation with a I think it was a rust micronized powders in water, maybe a bit of dirt, I don't know. I can't remember. Watch the video. It really pulls that into solution, which is quite cool. So I think the encapsulation of it is strong. Its constitution is a polymer-based approach with surfactants. There's always going to be some sort of surfactants in there to some extent, I think. But I think of this more as a polymer rinseless wash, yeah, because it's really the polymer that's doing the clever stuff. But having some surfactants in there will give you some, functions around cleaning that might be desirable. But primarily a polymer rinseless wash. Is it unique? Yes, I think. The whole system, definitely. It might not be the only rinseless that leaves protection behind, but it's all unique, it's all bespoke. They all kind of make it themselves. So the chemical approach is good. It claims a lot of cleaning power and unparalleled cleaning. I'm not sure on its own if it does, and that's why the existence of those is maybe required or beneficial. Lubrication, yes, it's very good on that front. I think like the fact that it's putting stuff down, it performed well in that marring test, which was deeply flawed because the fact it puts stuff down affects your ability to know if what you're seeing is due to any filling effect of the material. But it seemed to do very well on that front. It is an advanced one. It seems to offer post-wash self-cleaning, I think. I don't know if I'm making that up and why I've got a note of that, because I don't think I'm not sure if it states that on the label, so if I got that wrong, apologies. Lasting ceramic protection, lasting 6 weeks, which you could argue isn't long, but I love the honesty of that, rather than just admitting it and just saying it gives you the long-lasting protection of a ceramic coating. No, it doesn't do that. It's giving you some protection on the surface that lasts 6 weeks, and I love it. That 6 weeks, it might last 3 months if it's a garage car and you hardly ever use it. It might last 3 weeks if the car's out in the winter conditions and being driven. But that just gives me a good ballpark of what type of protection. It does have a nice silky feel on the panel to the back of your hand and stuff when you've washed a car with this. Fast acting, I don't know if that's a claim, but I don't know why I've written that there. Don't let it dry on surface. I think they state that in the instructions. Now, one of the feedback from some of you guys on this particular product was that it can be prone to leaving like a leopard spot pattern or patches on the panel. Now, what is that? What's going on there? Well, this product has sealant in it, okay? And when you get a pool of water over your panel and that sealant's distributed in that film in the water there, if you had a perfect film, you'd get a perfect distribution. The problem is the chemical, and I assume it's cationic. I assume there's a cationic element to it, or some sort of element where it's drawn out of the solution to make a film. If that film of water sits on the panel and it's not uniform, so you've got a little pool of water there, you've got a bit of water here, you've got a couple of lines of water here, then you're not giving the sealant the ideal conditions within it to apply a nice even film. So that's what they mean about don't letting it dry. If you put that solution on a panel when you're washing it, and it's just sat there all over the place, like a wet film in patches and bits of it run, then you're not filming a good seal. And the longer that sits there, the higher risk of those. Then you're seeing footprints of the sealant side. So again, it's technique. Again, a bit like fat new. When they're like that, I'm less likely to spray them around because then the overspray is settling while you're working on this panel. and more inclined to like put it in the thing and wipe it over a panel and then dry that panel, because you get a lovely even film of it, and you'll lay the sealant out without patches. So there you go. It's just an understanding thing. But yes, it's all this advanced kind of versus non-advanced, but more user-friendly, I guess. More capability, more considerations, etc. pH neutral, you know, fine. It kind of fits in with the fact that they've got an alkaline and an acidic one here. If this was like alkaline as well, you think, hang on a minute. So it works, that's fine. Surface not very dirty only. They've quoted that. That's for use with Ibrosave. So on its own as a pH neutral rinseless, they are saying it, you know, when the surface isn't dirty, you know, or not that dirty, you know what I mean? That's why these exist. So it's great. It's great that they're solving these problems, and it's the same with Optimum. Optimum, you know, have got this product that's been around for ages. If this could do everything and there was no limitations of it, then they wouldn't need this one, which is this one gives you pre-wash function and a more surfactant mix to it, which is interesting. So there's never a case that one can do it all, and that's why I think brands are trying to broaden the horizons of what Rinseless can do. Which I think is interesting. Work panel by panel, we've touched on that. Water spotting. Yeah, so I don't know why I've written that there, but that's what the Preludio is there to help address. Professional use only. I'm not sure, I don't think it says that on this bottle. It might say it on their 5 litre, but typically the Labo stuff is often flagged as professional use only. And it's because of some of the things that we're talking about here that it falls into that professional use only. Really, what that means in my head, you can buy it as a non-professional and use it. What it means is don't bother if you're not going to read the instructions and you're not going to put a little bit of time into it and like understand it. If you don't understand it, like it's not complex, but if you don't understand it, then maybe it's not going to be right for you, and the risk of misuse goes up. So for me, I went and watched the videos that they did on all this stuff, which you don't have to do, but I was interested, and I read the additional information on the products that's on their website. And the more information you give, the more things you can pick up on, the more needs to be tighter. They've got their ratio there is 1 to 250, but on the bottle it's 1 to 200. So the more they give me, the more I can go through and check and scrutinise, which is what I like. It's exactly the same for me as a reviewer. The more I talk about, the more I show you, the more we get scrutinised as a channel. So I like it when a brand aligned to giving you more, so that it can all be scrutinised. That resonates massively with me. But essentially, I'm going to show you that this product is not complicated. But yeah, there's stuff beyond the complexity with professional use as well. That like, okay, this has got a warning thing to be wary of. This is the pH neutral one has got a caustic symbol on it, which is probably because there's some chemical in there which is triggering it on the SDS. And the acidic one will have a caustic on it, yeah, because it's acid. I think it's phosphoric acid, lactic acid, ethanol, you know. So again, with the professional use, where you've got stronger chemistries at play, you want to perhaps follow the health and safety, which I will do when I use it. I'm going to do a follow-up demo on the Gulf, but in this video, I'm going with the flow. And I'll just use it with my hands because I'm not going to be getting my hands so much in it here. But when you use it, follow all the instructions. Very important, this brand are ISO and VDA certified. Or what the hell does that mean, John? Well, this industry, to sell chemicals in this industry, you have to abide by a whole set of regulations, okay, for your particular geographies that you're located in or selling in. A vast array of regulations, in fact, and the reality is you can get away with not fulfilling those regulations because there's millions of brands and it's a bit of a wild west, and you could get, there's so many things. It's, you know, I'm sure there's lots of brands that are missing stuff because they just don't know about it. It's so complicated. The bottom line is, if you open yourself up to ISO certification, the ISO organisation are going to look at all the regulatory requirements for you to sell chemicals, and you're going to have to put in place the ability to demonstrate you've fulfilled those regulations, both around the chemicals, the labelling of the chemicals, the information you give, the information on your brand. So in the UK, it's mainly CLP kind of regulations. What you're saying is, we're going to put in place compliance with all of the regulations, and we're going to allow you to come in and test us to make sure we're compliant. And if we are, we get the ISO certification. It's not a massive badge of honour. Most people don't even know what it means. If ever you see ISO certified on any brand that are doing anything with chemicals, take that as a massive badge of honour. It's a voluntary thing the brand are doing, which puts them through a level of scrutiny that the other brands aren't going to be able to do. It also requires dedicated resources to put in place the compliance controls and make sure they're up to date, and make sure you're ready for your compliance testing whenever that is. I don't think it's yearly, I can't remember. It is a nightmare. It's a massive thing. VDO certification means your products are independently tested by an association in Germany, I believe, and they'll go through and test it to make sure it's all good, and that's a very stringent set of requirements. I don't know of any other brand that are ISO and VDA certified. Very good. That is very unusual, and that tells you that they're not playing around. I'll give you a real example of what I've seen with that. Brands that seem to be ISO certified give you full ingredients lists on their products. Full ingredients list, not just SDSs where you've got a couple of ingredients, and some SDSs are virtually blank and you just don't know what's going on with the SDS. People don't want to put that information out on their products because often it allows you to identify things around the chemistry that they don't want to say. So to put yourself through an auditing process that requires you to do that, if that is true, I think it is, you have to go, it's like you're revealing all to everyone, because there must be some regulation somewhere that says that they want you to do that. So you can go and look at all the full ingredients lists of these products, and I bloody love that. I love that. I love it. I'm so drawn to that as a concept. It's just fantastic, because it just removes all of this guessing game, and it's like, right, that's what's in there. Fantastic, that is. So there's a load of stuff. Okay, now the Preludio Alkaline costs £15.25 for 1,000 ml, and you mix it out at these different ratios: very heavy dirt, ppf, fresh dirt as they describe it. They should put light dirt, I think they use the term light dirt, which means this litre product at 15.25, really, if I'm planning at 1 to 10 to use it, gives you 10 litres of a sprayable pre-soak for your thing. You'd never need to buy 5 litres of this, although it is available. You'd have to be a really hardcore user. Even 10 litres of that would even keep a professional going for a long time. That's the size to sell it at, I think. The acidic one seems to be only available in a litre as far as I can see in the UK. Costs £21, and I'd probably use it at 1 to 10. That was the dosage information on their technical sheet on it. On the label, it also mentions use as a coating restorer at 1 to 50. So you use a very low concentration, 1 part product to 50 on a coated card, just to clear up some of those lighter minerals that might be masking up your coating a little bit. So there's some versatility there. Now, let's go on and demo this product, guys, because we're covering some ground here. I've lost half of you already. I'm going to show you what this is all about. So come out here. We're in the shade, but it is warm today. Now you see this panel here. There's an example of something that Rinseless wipe over won't remove. Crap. Berries and tree organic matter, and it's all over this panel. And what we've got over here is the same thing, although it's a bit more dusty. I'm not sure if there's any poo on this side, so I think it will get most of it off, but I'm going to test this on the side with poo. So this is mixed up at 1 to 10, Let's just spray this on. I'm going to just use a fair old bit. I'll stay away from this side. I'm just going to soak it. Yeah, so you're using way too much. Maybe. So it says to leave it for a minute, 1 to 2 minutes. Just don't let it dry would be what I say. And right now, what this is doing is the chemistry of it is simply attacking organic contamination. That's it. John, that's all a load of BS. That's all a load of BS. No, it's not. It's the most simple form of chemistry ever. Now, because they tell me about all the ingredients, this stuff has a small amount of caustic soda in it, sodium hydroxide, I believe. I'm pretty sure it does. Lower down the list of ingredients. That's a caustic component. It's probably not listed as caustic here because it's in such a low dilution ratio, but it's great. That caustic component is something that I typically don't want to use every time I'm washing a car, but it's there because of its power to dissolve this sort of stuff. It's not predominantly caustic soda. There's all sorts of other chemistries going on there, but it has to be powerful because, again, this is a pre-soak, okay, that's designed to pre-soak for 1 to 2 minutes. It's got to have an effect as well. So we want it to start breaking that stuff down. Look at it. Yeah, I didn't think it would. Jesus, that has melted it. Yeah, that's great. So that's an example of the exact chemistry that is giving you. That's really impressive. So that's probably had enough. If that's broken down already, it's all this stuff. So now I take my Preludio, I take my, what's it called? Ibrosave, which you can see is in there. It's all murky. And I go and do a rinseless wash technique on my car. Now, if a glass panel had water spots on it, I could use the acidic one instead. So I would envisage using this with the 2 sprays hanging off your rinseless wash bucket. You might go and wash a car and it doesn't need the pre-soak, but when you need it, this isn't going to work. So it's nothing that complicated. And all you've got to decide, is it organic dirt, muck and berries and organic stuff, or is it water spots? That's all you've got to decide. And then pick your pre-soak and then do the pre-soaking bit first and then go back and rinseless wash it and don't let it dry. So that's it. This is covered in rinseless wash solution. You could spray that rinseless wash solution on there, but this is nothing complicated. This is just, the cleaning part. Oh look, oh yeah, it needed a bit more, but it was still softened. That bird poo off. That's good. There's some of you, well, there's something there it hasn't got off. Oh, it's a chip. It's a stone chip. It's just gone rusty. It's not dirt. Now, some of you will be looking at that thinking, that don't impress me much. You're just washing a dirty panel. Well, I am, but what it's done is it's broken down all the crap on the panel. That's what I want it to do. It's not rocket science, but it's just good. It's just a good chemical approach. Now, what I was saying about films, you see, if you allow this to dry, the sealant side of it isn't getting a good film. So that's why you don't do that. You just dry off that panel. Look at that. It looks good. Yeah, so I shouldn't have been waffling, but that's fine. That's a nice, shiny, smooth finish. So effectively, actually it's not that smooth. It's all right, I'll let that dry off a little bit. It's not full prep or anything. It's okay though. Maybe it needs a bit longer to dry. It's not mega slick. I thought this was, maybe that just needs to dry. Actually, it's becoming slicker now under the towel. Maybe it's setting up. Yeah, it is. So whatever's going on there, that film of material is drying. It's just a shame there isn't any crap on this side. But let's just have a go, because I think the reality is that dust and dirt is going to break off with the contact. But that's okay. That's okay. It's more about explaining the principle of it, the chemistry. So you could pre-soak this out with the product, which is a good thing. Or, you can just do your bucket wash thing and do whatever you like. And you go over and you clean it. And that is the reality there. I think that's a bit of bird muck. That is the reality. Let's just turn this around. It's softening down a little bit, but that's 3 or 4 passes that it hasn't got off. A bit under there it hasn't got off. So the reality, look, there's a bit there it hasn't got off. And I've talked about this before on the channel. It requires how many passes to remove that? It's still there. It's still there. Now it's gone. So the reality is, look, that one won't shift. That little bit of crud will not shift. It's too late now to go and put the alkaline thing on it. So what I'd have to do then is get into it and pressure. Look, rub it off. Get in there with pressure. Look, there's still little bits here and bits here. It's subtle. It's subtle. But the reality is, and I've noticed this before when I've used rinseless washes on cars that have got that sort of stuff on them, is when you're finished and you're drying off the car, you usually notice on like wing mirrors, little bugs and clumps of organic matter that's not there, and you're like, ah, Jesus. And then you go back and get a bit of citrus on it and mash it in with the brush and, you know, wipe away and get it off the car. What this is just a little simple concept of pre-soaking with the appropriate chemical before you go in and do your rinseless. It was always going to work. As soon as I looked at the chemistry of both products and how you go about using them, this product was always going to work. And I hope, let's just dry this off. Yeah, it's very subtle, but it's just, I just want to show you, it's like little bits like this, and little bits like this, little bits like this. Now I've sealed all that dirt in as well. So, yeah, it's just that I'd have to buff, see that? I'd have to buff it off. There, it's going now. Look at that, I probably scratched the panel doing that. So, hope that comes across, that this product is not that complicated. This product is just taking the limitations of this encapsulation, this dirt handling mechanism. The limitations of a pH neutral rinseless wash probably also transfer across to the limitations of a pH neutral shampoo to a certain extent. The shampoos chemically aren't good at doing that. That's why, you know, lots of car washing things have more aggressive chemicals. So as more and more people use rinselesses and decide they prefer them or there's a market for them, that side of that niche, if you like, needs to also expand to cover the capabilities that other aggressive chemicals have. The clever thing about this, okay, let's close this door where the flies get in. The clever thing about this is, John, you could just use another form of product to do it. You mentioned citrus. What about another alkaline kind of cleaner degreaser for that function? Yes, but they're not formulated to be rinseless. So you can see there, just using it is good. What if you're putting an oily film over with a citrus and it needs rinsing? So that's the thing. You could, and it might be absolutely fine. You might be absolutely fine, you know, but you don't know. All you're doing really is you're just either buying into or not buying into a system that's been designed by people with chemical expertise. So here's something interesting. The function of that alkaline, you know, and all those materials, I haven't seen it before in a rinseless. Fat Newt doesn't have the capability, you know, it doesn't have organic matter dissolving capability, although someone will tell me it does maybe. It's about encapsulation and lifting and that real increased power of the dry on mode to make this a really good viable pre-wash on heavy film, a really good encapsulator and a really good cleaner. But well, I don't know, maybe it can lift that up. But what we had there in that example was like that orange bird poo that needed to be dissolved, and a simple example of the chemistry. Fat Newt, for example, has no acidic function, so it's no use for tackling water spots. Same with Optimum No Rinse, same for Rapid Rinseless Wash, same for Ibrosave. But they've given us a function there to demineralise. Now, the clever people will say, John, why don't you just use a water spot remover? They've got a very good one. That's a hardcore water spot remover, and so is that. It's not designed, and that one uses hydrofluoric acid, that one uses lactic acid and ethanol and a little bit of phosphoric acid, but I think more lactic acid. It's designed to be used as a contact, within a contact wash operation to do a little bit of demineralizing. That's designed to try and rip apart etched stuff. That's not as easily incorporatable. So it's just tweaks to chemistry. And I'm going to end this video here. So I've given you a demo that shows this. There's other uses of this as a pre-cleaner for rinseless, where its acidic function might be good on wheels, and same with this. They don't talk too much about that, but that extra cleaning power might be quite useful. I still think rinseless without rinse is going to struggle to be a good one on wheels, but this might be as close as you can get. Outside I have the old trusty Golf, and the Golf is very dirty, or it's very dirty for a summer context. It's like that panel. It's got all sorts of bits on it, but it's also got, like, if you look through the glass, it's got all like these dried on spots where the screen washers flick down the side and you see like the water spots. That's where I cleaned it. That's with nothing to do with detailing. So yeah, I am sold on the concept. There is nothing here that I struggle to get my head around. And in terms of usage, it's just give these two products a 1 to 10 ratio for me, but you can play around with ratios. Give them like a minute on the panel before you then clean that panel. So it's exactly what it says. It's an alkaline or acidic, depending on the task at hand, organic or inorganic, pre-soak solution, and then after that you go in with your rinseless. We've talked about all of the criticisms. Here's something that's interesting. The big thing with Ibrosave is that it puts down the protective layer, which is good as a drying aid and all that sort of stuff. This acidic function at 1 to 10 and that alkaline function at 1 to 10 or even higher ratios has to have a degradation effect on existing LSP, depending on how long you let it dwell and how you handle it and how often you use it. So I wonder if the conceptual idea is that this is a system and that has ceramic nanosealant in it to compensate for any deg effect of these, because you're just going to be topping up protection at the same time that you might deg it. That's why I think they've done that. And it didn't make sense to me why they'd done that before, when I just bought the Ibrosave and stuck it in the rinseless wash comparison. I thought, well, that's unusual. It's got nano sealant in it. That's unusual. But it kind of makes a little bit more sense to me now. It does create some considerations though, because here's a very interesting piece of criticism or constructive thought, that these give you a capability to make the rinseless a viable prep washing platform with the power that these give you. But this negate that and lock it into being an all-in-one system that allows you to wash the car well and protect it at the same time. So I'm looking at it and thinking, oh, I want to really utilise that alkaline pre-soak. I like it. I really want to utilise that acid function. But then if I've got to I'm washing it this way to do a wax or a sealant, maybe more a sealant, and I don't want to use, I want to use my own sealant, you know, I might want to be just washing down and, I put my sealant in here. I might want to just wash down and top this up, and I'm happy doing that through rinseless because I trust it. It's not a good idea to put down their nano sealant and then try and like whiz over with my little DA and do it. It's not the end of the world, but it's, you get what I mean. Or if I'm using a water-based one, you know, I want to use a water-based one, I might want to go in with the old Turtle or the old bead coat or the old Fein Lab or the ceramic detail, or but less so these, but more so these. And I've just put sealant down. So it locks me in a little bit to it as a system, and sometimes you don't want to get locked in. So I almost feel I almost feel that Ibrosave should not have nano sealant. It should be a pure rinseless, possibly. And then you incorporate the, what's it called? Perfector, is it Perfector? Or SiO2 Perfector as part of the regime. And then you have the full capability. You don't have a choice of removing that sealant function when it's mixed in. It's part of the chemistry. Do you understand what I'm saying? So it's all yin and yang. Yeah, that's something to think about. But there's no right or wrong with any of this. It's just very cool stuff to consider. I mean, the stuff we're talking about here is really, really interesting. So I hope you enjoyed that. That's an introduction to Labocosmetica's rinseless system. I like it. I like the concept. It got me really buzzing, especially the way they described it on their website. It wasn't some really flashy kind of music going and then like loads of money shots of things being wiped and like, you know, it wasn't like Ibrosave is going to revolutionize your cleaning process. Just, you know, just simply wipe down the panel and behold the amazing gloss. It wasn't all about that. It was like, here's a problem. These are why these products exist. And that's, as I've said, what resonates with me. It's a more adult approach to these kind of products, I feel. So thanks for watching. Put in the comments if you've used it. We've got some rinseless wash experts in the comments. People that have got a hell of a lot more experience and use them and rely on them more than me. In fact, it was people in the comments that got me back interested in looking at this. And it's like, John, you need to check out this 3pH thing. I think I was definitely guilty of dropping the ball a little bit with Labo. I remember when they sort of first hit the UK and I looked at the pre-washes and decided they're a bit pricey. Looked at Kronos and liked it, but decided it was a bit niche. And then I liked their SiO2 Perfector detail spray. I thought that was really good. And I liked Ibrosave. And their water spot remover has done very well. And now I'm starting to realise all this stuff about ISO compliance, VDA, all the bespoke packaging, well-written instructions, although the text is very small. We've really criticised that in every single video. And rightfully so, but by complying with all these regulations, they've got to put a ton of information on here. It makes it very difficult. So it's easy for me to criticise, but it's very difficult to put yourself through all this. But it's all this extra stuff that they do that I really like as well. These are a good brand in my head. Very, very good. And they're all scented nicely as well. That's important to some people. The acid, I can smell the phosphoric acid. It's always got a slight farty smell, but it's slightly masked by a nice scent. And the products have a premium thing that's less about fruitiness and more about sporty aftershavey smells. And they do smell good as well. I don't really care about the smell. This brand, as far as I can see, is meant to be like the elite division of Mafra. And Mafra have got masses of industry experience, like the Auto Glim of Italy. And they have massive experience selling to the retail sector. That's what they primarily do. This brand is very much supposed to be a professional premium offering with more capabilities that requires a little bit more thought, a little bit more understanding from a user's point of view, but then you get all of that interesting capability. Not everyone wants that. If you asked Mafra, this company, which you've got to only keep one of your two divisions, Labocosmetica or your main retail products, this will be gone because the money is in selling to the mass retail division that just really want it simple. This is more niche for guys that are really into it and want to mainly professional use. So I understand that, actually. I understand the professional use makes sense to me. It kind of really is, but there's nothing difficult there. And what you'll get from that, if you understand it, is more capability. You've got to invest some time in it to understand it and use it and look at it. You also, and we're guilty of this on the Forensics Detailing channel, you also really have to keep continually using it in all sorts of scenarios that test it when you need it. When you might be using another rinseless and you hit a problem and it's not doing what you like and you finish the thing and there's bits stuck on it, you'll be like, oh, I should have used the Preludio. And then you start using it when you encounter that problem and That's when you start deciding whether products are actually useful for you or not. When they're not useful, they sit on the shelf and they never get used. So are you a rinseless wash guy? Do you do rinseless washing on vehicles that have all this stuff on them that normally doesn't come off when you rinseless wash? Are you worried about removing and keeping on top of mineral deposits while you use your rinseless wash process? You might need to use that a little bit less frequently than the alkaline one, in my opinion. Great options, very interesting. Thanks for watching. Over and out. Doug.